Hey, hello everybody, how are you guys doing? Bienvenidos a esta serie de entrevistas que tenemos por la celebración, el lanzamiento de nuestra semana de Black Week. Y hoy tenemos a the one and only Alberto Alonso. Es un profe que una cara muy conocida en la enseñanza del inglés. Probablemente después de...
vender tu coche?
Espera, que Espera, Alberto, que siempre se me saltan.
No quiero vender mi coche, si eso es lo que me preguntas.
Probablemente la cara más conocida del inglés después del profesor Vaughan, y este es el pequeño saltamontes que se hizo, bueno, muy popular ya con el canal. Ha hecho televisión en Vaughan TV, ha hecho radio, ha hecho podcast, ha hecho, bueno, ha hecho cosas en teatro, ha hecho cosas en cine, es mitad americano, mitad español, también conocido porque ha dado clase a gente mega famosa. Solo tenéis que ver su Instagram, ahí lo tenemos, Alberto Alonso, que, bueno, ya veremos luego, pero ha dado clase a Pilar Rubio, ha dado clase a Pablo Motos, a gente súper potente. Y bueno, nosotros hace tiempo que estamos en contacto y además siempre nosotros mismos aprendemos cosas. Por ahí tenemos expresiones que comentaré que he aprendido directamente de él. Esa sección la haremos luego. Y without further ado, ¿cómo se dice sin más dilación? Without further ado, aquí tenemos a Alberto Alonso. How are you doing, Alberto?
Hello. How are you? How's it going, Fran? How is everybody? Hola a todos.
Oh, good, great. Yes, we're hanging in here. Yes. And,
good expression, hanging in there, tirando.
Ya, vamos tirando. Eso es lo bueno, lo mejor que tiene Alberto es que realmente es un profe totalmente bilingüe, perfecto en ambos idiomas, ahora lo veremos, y siempre, aunque te mande un audio de 1 minuto, dice, por cierto, and we're hanging in there.
Tío, I can't help it. No lo puedo evitar. I can't help it.
So you're constantly processing everything in both languages.
It's a sickness. Es una enfermedad, puede ser.
That is amazing, and I have to tell you, the other day I was having a coffee, and then the girl there running the pastry shop, and she goes, "Hey, Fran, ¿cómo se dice 5 euros justos?" And I go, "I don't know. Maybe it's not going to be sharp. It's not going to be whatever. So let me ask Alberto." And he got back to me and he said, "On the nose," and I took it down.
Yeah.
5 euros on the nose. I never heard that. But
on the nose. Yeah, on the nose. Ni uno más, ni uno menos. It's on the nose. Justo. Y tuve que pensarlo, ¿eh? Me pusiste un challenge ahí, un reto. I was like,
I was testing you, Alberto, and you passed. Good job.
Pues, pero me recuerda nuestros WhatsApps. You know, our WhatsApps me recuerdan a los de Damián y yo. Y de eso vinieron nuestros libros, This Book is the Milk y This Book is the Milk Too, de jugar con español, inglés y luego unirlas, ver dónde estábamos de acuerdo en las cosas y, bueno, un poco enfocar en eso, ¿no?
Siempre buscáis, y tú también buscas, la versión más natural de los dos idiomas. Dice, así es como y eso es lo que te hace realmente ver ese matiz que luego te hace ser fluido.
Sí, es como, a ver, todo el mundo te enseña how do you do, ¿no? Si yo te digo a alguien, how do you do?
Yeah.
Si tú me dices a mí, how do you do? Yo lo veo muy formal. How do you do? I'm like, calm down. It's how are you? How's it going? How's it hanging? So, hay muchas formas de decirlo que suenan más natural de how do you do, sir?
Exactly. And then different situations you might be using, chances are in Spanish, you might be using different sentences.
Sure.
And that's what we aim at in English, to use the appropriate expression and depending on the context, and that's gonna make you sound like the real thing. Which is amazing with you. It's you sound like the real thing, so to speak, in both languages. Like in Spanish, you sound like a real Spanish speaker, and then in English, obviously. So
English, there's no effort there. The English thing is just millions of times hearing it, repeating it since I was a kid.
It's your home language, so to speak. But your second language, so to speak, might be Spanish. And I've been watching videos from you back in the day when you got here to Spain and you had a strong accent, but now there's no trace to it. You know,
well, the thing is, I have 2 secrets, Fran. I've been living in Spain for 18 years now. Yeah. So I'm en un inmersión total aquí. I'm very lucky. So I'm making the most of that. And secondly, I work hard. I want to know. I'm like you and Damián and the rest of the students here. I'm curious. Every day I'm like, ¿y cómo se dice esto? Hay veces, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, Damián, ¿cómo se dice esto? Si es así, tenemos un nuevo ejemplo para el libro. It's an obsession. Al final,
That's
acaba
it.
siendo...
That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You need to be obsessive because it's like you play the guitar, the piano, and it's the whole life thing. It's a constant, an ongoing process of always learning because you love it and you're curious about it. In the second language, it's not like you get a certificate and you're done. It's just an ongoing thing. And
life's a journey, not a destination.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Amazing. Hold on a second. Let me ask my brother something. Oye, pues
Sure.
Porque veo que hay pocos usuarios. No sé si está bien o es que mi marcador no funciona.
Sí, no hay pocos.
En directo, ¿vale? Por si hay algo que está fallando en la emisión.
Sí, yo.
¿Vale? Okay. All right. Just double checking that the
sure, yeah.
live is going all right. Yes. So basically, yeah. Okay. So basically, how long did you live in the U.S.? So you grew up there, and
yeah, I was born and raised there, and then I moved to Spain in 2006. So I've been here a long time. This is my adopted country, but my father's from Almería. So I have when you were saying americano, español, they call me Almericano.
Almericano.
En la voz de Almería, I'm el Almericano. So
yeah. All right. And
so yeah, I love Spain. I've had a connection to Spain all my life, and little did I know, poco iba a saber yo, that my daughter was going to be born here. I was going to get married here and make amazing friends too.
Yeah, that's great. And when did you get here to Spain? Like what year did you first?
To Spain, the first time I ever came here, I was 18 months old.
Oh
Tenía
my God.
18 meses. So para que veas mi conexión con España, it's very deep.
Yeah. So you on and off, you would come back and forth when you were a kid?
In the summers, veranear, as you say. We would come here and spend our summers in Almería, and because half of my family lived there. So for me, I learned Spanish around the table. Having a calimocho, having a granizado at the recreativo, listening to Hombres G, super pop. Now I'm dating myself, estoy demostrando mi edad un poco, pero yo he aprendido siempre de la cultura popular, de lo que tengo alrededor. Entonces, así enseño también, porque es como he aprendido de hacer las cosas, de ir al súper, hands-on learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Es chocante ver cómo cambias de un idioma a otro sin rastro de acento.
No me entero. I have no clue when it happens. It's automatic.
That's a good symptom. And when did you come here? When did you got here to Spain, like to stay steadily, so to speak?
About 18 years ago.
18
years ago, yeah. And my Spaniversary, as we call it, los guiris, los que vivimos aquí, expats. Our Spaniversary, when you move to Spain, your Spanish anniversary.
Okay, my God.
So good. Yeah, Spain, I've always had a love affair with Spain as a country, the food, the people, the sounds, the ferias. And, even in my home in the United States, you would go into my home and you would hear Julio Iglesias, and my father would be making paella or making gambas a la plancha or al ajillo. So even though I lived in the United States, I was exposed to Spain and Spanish culture.
Absolutely.
So a big thing about learning is not just the words and the language and the idioms. It's the cultural thing. That makes it, eso es el enfoque. If you think I need to learn grammar,
no, that's boring. It needs to be fun. And Alberto, when you got here like about 18 years ago, what's your level? Like on a scale 1 to 10, what was it like? Your level of Spanish back in the day?
I think I would, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was probably about a 6.5 or a 7.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. And my accent was very almeriense because that was the Spanish. So I was like, esto que loca, eh? ¿Qué dice?
No kidding.
I swear to God. Yeah. And in Madrid, I noticed people would look at me funny. It would be like, eres de Nueva York, pero con ese acento almeriense medio. I'm like, I'm confusing people here.
Yeah.
So I started to imitate. Empecé a imitar lo que oía aquí en Madrid.
So they must have been trying to pick up on, where's he coming from? And,
¿Sabes lo que me costaba? It was I had a lot of difficulty following like these programs on
mhm,
Telecinco or Estadio Deportivo when there's 5 people sitting around a table and
yeah,
they're all screaming. I'm like, nada,
yeah.
nada, nada. So, no tenía ese nivel todavía. Ahora más o menos sigo.
Ahora
So,
ya vas estudiando, ahora ya estás
but
perfecto.
I'm in the culture. I'm living in Spain. I have no excuse.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Hey, and me decía Damián que muchas partes porque decía, joder, este Alberto del Torreal lo comentamos, ¿no? Como habla perfecto en los dos idiomas. Dice, sí, pues yo muchas cosas, él me ha ayudado con el inglés, pero yo le he ayudado mucho con el español. Eso también es cierto, ¿no?
Sin duda, sin duda. Yo, cuando la gente me dice, ¿tú eres profe? Are you a teacher? I say, well, it depends on the subject. Sometimes I'm the
Yeah,
student.
yeah, absolutely.
If it's Spanish, I'm the student usually. If we're talking about, nuclear physics, I'm a
Yeah,
student. I know nothing about that.
yeah, absolutely. It's a constant process, like we said. Absolutely.
I think though, in order to be a good teacher, you need to be a good student and vice versa. You need to know both sides of the coin. What is the
Yes,
student going through? Because there's
absolutely.
moments of self-doubt, like no puedo con esto. I
Yeah.
give up. Me doy por ven. And then there's moments where you're like, I got this. Everything just flows out of my mouth
Yeah.
today.
And
You know what I
and
mean?
I don't know if you agree with this, but we think if you don't remember how you learn something, it is very difficult to teach it. And conversely, if you remember the learning process, then it is much more, much easier to
Sure,
to connect.
association,
Exactly,
absolutely.
exactly.
I
So
still to this day, I
yes,
remember where I learned the word gullible, for example. The word
gullible.
gullible,
Yes,
ingenuo, no,
crédulo, no, in
yeah, you
Spanish.
believe everything, right?
Yeah, gullible.
And
Yeah,
I remember it was 1985, and I
yeah,
remember I was at the movie theater in el cine, and I
yeah.
was watching Back to the Future. Y dice Biff, "Hey
Yes,
McFly, you're so gullible." Now
gullible.
I got it from the context. I didn't know the
Yeah,
word yet. No sabía la palabra todavía.
yeah, yeah,
And then my mother confirmed it. I go, Mom, what is gullible? That
yeah.
means you believe everything. Y entonces,
Yes,
hasta hoy en día, 1985, me acuerdo cuando aprendí ese
exactly.
adjetivo de
That
back,
happens.
porque lo asocié con Regreso al Futuro.
That happens to me all the time because I pretty much remember, and my brother too. We remember pretty much everything we learned because we learned as an adults, and it really works out for teaching
Sure.
because you know exactly how to teach something, how to associate it to special situations, and if that's emotional learning, if you remember when you learned a particular word, then it sticks forever, and
Sure.
it's the
It's like
same
a trigger, algo que como
paradox.
desata,
Exactly, exactly. Hey, and you started teaching advanced systems. When was that? Right when you came from the US, or you came expressly to teach for advanced systems, or how was that?
Well, you want to hear the crazy part? I started
Yeah,
working at Planet Hollywood.
no kidding.
Remember, now, ya no hay
Yes,
Planet Hollywood in Madrid, but I worked in Orlando at Disney World.
yes,
And so when I moved to Madrid, I needed a job quick. I had a limited budget. I had
yes.
a one-way ticket, de
Uh-huh.
avión, and I said, you know what? I worked at the biggest Planet Hollywood in the world, the busiest one on Disney property. I said,
Yes,
I'm going to walk in here. They're going to hire me on the spot. Me van
yeah,
a... Y sure enough, como se dice, pasó
yes,
eso. Entré, dije, hola, hi, you can confirm it. I worked at the Orlando Planet. They're like, you're hired. No, no, done, done. So it was a way to get some money, but it was a little bit different. Como no es de propinas in New York and Orlando, you can make a
yes,
lot of money as a waiter. Puedes ganar.
absolutely.
You can make a lot of money.
Yeah, the
And
US is
it's es un buen negocio, dependiendo de donde trabajas, de camarero, pero hay sitios $500 la noche, 200, you can make some really good money. But
yeah, a lot, a lot.
here I was like, oh man, I don't know. It's not worth it. I'm doing a lot of time and not making, and it wasn't as busy. And I saw a magazine and it said,
Yeah,
buscando profesores de inglés. And
okay.
when they described what kind
Yes,
of people they were looking for,
yeah.
I was like, they described me to a T. como se dice en inglés, to a T,
Yeah.
a la perfección. And I said, that's me. And I had to. I felt led. Es como algo me dijo, oh, como tienes que contestar eso. The rest is history. I started working at Vaughan as a
Yes.
teacher. Entonces empezaron un canal de televisión, aprendí inglés. So I started working, not only producing my own shows, but working with the talent, working on content. So
Yes.
I went from acting in New York City, que me vine aquí un poco para escaparme de ese mundillo,
Sí, sí, sí,
a
sí.
ahora aplicar todo lo que aprendí, pero en la enseñanza, por la tele. So, lo que llamamos hoy en día edutainment, educational entertainment. No,
Entertainment, yes.
you're entertained, but it's educational, como un
Yeah.
documental también. Hoy en día son muy divertidos. And, well, to make a long story short, the TV station, then the radio, and then Hormiguero, and Radio Nacional, and Danny Flow, and like you said, I've had some of the most amazing opportunities. I've
That's
met
amazing.
some of the coolest people in
Yeah.
Spain and in the world. And I don't just mean cool. Quería decir eso. I don't just mean cool porque son famosos. I mean
Sí, sí,
cool
porque
porque son gente como súper buena que me han ayudado. Pablo Motos, all of these people who I've crossed paths with have
Yeah.
helped me. Mario
El otro día,
Vaquerizo has helped me tremendously.
el otro día hablábamos de Pablo Motos. ¿Cómo es este tipo de gente que tiene ese nivel de trabajo, de creatividad, de excelencia, ¿no? ¿Cómo es
Yo estaría estresado con toda esa presión, porque no, todos los días producir un
Claro.
programa así en directo. ¿Has ido, Fran? Have you gone to see them live?
The show? No, I've never seen
Tú
them.
tienes que ir, tío. When you come to Madrid, talk to Damián. It's excellent.
Yeah,
Es
maybe I'll
ver una obra de arte. Están como
yeah,
8 cámaras. Venga, pum, pum, la música. It's excellent. Es muy
maybe I
interesante.
can go to Madrid. I can, yes, give you a buzz in Damián, and maybe if we could, that'd be great.
Oh, dude, it's a lot of fun. Es muy divertido ver cómo. Y lo hacen la mágica esta, lo hacen todas las noches. Like,
Sí, sí, sí.
again and again. Y cuando lo ves así behind the scenes, dice 8 cámaras, luces, es que es como un baile y todo
Claro,
coreografía.
claro, claro.
It's,
Es
it's,
increíble.
it's organized chaos.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like that amazes me. Having access to those kind of excellent people, not only because
No.
they're really famous and influential, but also just to see firsthand, de primera mano, see firsthand how they interact, how they think, how quick they are, and so
Sure,
that
sure.
must have been amazing,
True
no?
professionals. I mean, Pablo surrounds himself with true professionals, as you've seen with Damián and Juan and the whole team, really.
Pero tenemos que conseguir que Pablo Motos hable inglés. Sí, yo creo que eso sería el ejemplo que la gente diría, madre mía, si esta persona que siempre hacen bromas con su inglés lograra hablar inglés, ¿no? ¿Cómo sería?
But you have to have the willpower. Tienes que tener la voluntad y las horas del día.
Exacto. Hay que dedicarle mucho y estar de
Hombre,
manera...
aunque no tiene que ser mucho, pero es como ir al gimnasio. Si tú
Ya,
vas 10 minutos al día, good luck.
ya,
Si vas
ya.
1 hora al día, vas a notar, you
Y
know what I
todos los...
mean? Right.
Ya,
So,
exacto.
es un poco eso. Pero he's one of the busiest people I know.
Ya, like he's constantly
No es
working
que está ahí,
obsessively.
¿sabes? Viendo vídeos en TikTok. Bueno, a lo mejor sí, no sé, pero siempre
Ya, tiempo,
pensando en cómo puedo usar esto para el programa, ¿Cómo
ya,
puedo
always
llevar
with that.
esto al directo?
Siempre teniendo eso en cuenta.
Yeah.
No, pero hablando en general de toda esta gente de ese nivel, tiene que ser una pasada el tratarlos de primera mano, ¿no? Y ver cómo van esas cabezas, cómo piensan, how quick they think or how they interact with you.
And also, tío, te digo algo. I think what I've noticed from a lot of the famous people I've noticed and met, that they're a lot more normal than the normal people I know. Because the normal people want to be famous or they're trying to be
Yeah,
flipados, as you say in
and they do
Spanish.
extravagant
And they're
things.
like, oh, yeah, look at me. And the famous people are like, oh, please, don't give me
Even
any
normal.
special treatment. I don't
Yeah,
want special treatment. Just treat me
yeah.
like everybody else. So it's very different. It's funny how,
Yeah. It's just the opposite with my thing. Yeah. And hey, Damian, with Damien, you've been doing such a great job with his English. It feels like you're talking to just bilingual person in real time. You don't have to adapt your language, anything at all. He just picks up everything. He's really fluent. It's amazing.
Hombre, yo creo que el nivel más alto de cualquier idioma, dominancia de un idioma es poder tener gracia.
Sí.
En el momento, witty, as we say, to be witty. No solo gracioso, pero en el
No,
momento,
ingenioso,
porque
sí.
ingenioso. Saber decir, pero eso placa, un juego de palabras, a pun, en el momento adecuado.
Ajá.
And Damián ha demostrado, eso ya sabemos que lo tiene en español, es guionista, pero no es tan fácil. Eso es algo. I remember when I moved to Spain. Tú me preguntaste antes sobre mi nivel. Y yo estaba
Sí.
de botellón, big bottle. No,
Yeah.
no se llama big bottle. Estaba de,
Don't take it down. Yeah.
pero estábamos de botellón ahí y me acuerdo como estaban hablando de un tema, they were chatting. And then the moment I thought of something funny, like 2 minutes had passed.
Yeah.
Entonces yo lo soltaba y I was like, y taca, ta, ta. Y los otros como, sí, ya hemos movido a la tercera conversación. I'm like, shit. Porque tardaba tanto en procesarlo. Intentar poner, porque me gusta hacer gracias, el sentido de humor siempre lo usamos en mis clases, en la
Yeah.
radio, en todo lo que hacemos, pero,
That takes a while.
pero eso son cuando... Y luego otra cosa es defender tu punto de vista, discutir. O
Yeah.
sea, ser gracioso y saber decir, me voy a defender.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because when it's your second language, most times when you're at a meeting or something, you just keep it quiet because you don't have the skills.
You're like, ¿podemos cambiar a español? Así te destrozo en este argumento.
You're not yourself until
No tienes tantos recursos. No
no,
tienes.
that's
No.
yeah, that's
Pero
logical.
luego entonces empleamos el kiss.
Mhm.
Keep it simple,
Keep
stupid.
it simple, stupid. Yeah,
No te
absolutely.
compliques, tontito. Y esto es algo que nos autodecimos
Mhm.
muchas veces. Keep it simple,
Keep
stupid.
it simple. That is so it's an American saying. It is so right. Most times, more often than not, just if you keep it simple, but you do it right, that's the best way to go. Just
Right.
not to go to the overcomplicated things.
Well, what is communication? The best communication is simple.
Yeah,
In aviation, en la
yeah,
aviación, es
yeah.
lo mínimo, diciendo lo máximo con lo
But
mínimo.
excellent. Simple but excellent.
Right.
Like in music, if you listen to ACDC, you know the band.
4
that is-
chords.
Yeah, and real simple, but it is excellent. Like
It's the way they're played. It's the pauses, las pausas.
attitude, the natural way of doing it. But that's a beginner's level, but excellent. And the same applies to English. You know, just simple sentences. What are you doing? What are you talking about? It's on the floor. Are you sitting or standing? You know, and stuff. Kind of. But if you do it excellent, then chances are you're gonna communicate. You're going to be fluent.
Yeah.
But if you try to complicate yourself, you know, condicional tercero. Si no hubieses venido, no te hubiera. But you're gonna use that once a. You know,
Y
once
los
a week.
americanos ni dominamos eso. Los americanos decimos, if you would have come, I would have come. No es
Yeah,
doble
absolutely.
would. Y,
Yeah.
o sea, puedes corregir bueno, es como laísmos. Todos los
Yeah.
nativos tienen sus errores, pero luego es discutible. ¿Es un
Y
error
suena
si lo dice
natural.
300 millones de personas?
Claro, es más natural.
Se llama un error cuando lo dice porque un ejemplo, if I were you, yo que tú, if I were
Sí.
you, americanos pasamos de esa regla y decimos if I was you.
I was you, yeah. Or there's like we were commenting on it the other day. There's more people. It's supposed to be there are more people, but they say
Lo mismo con there's times. Hay veces, no es there are times. There's
Exactly.
times when you're down, que estás de
Yeah.
bajón.
Oh, I've never been to Madrid. Like they teach how to say I've never been in Madrid or whatever, but it's more natural. Yes, it's paying attention to the natural way of speaking. Hey,
Yeah, those little nuances, esos matices, los detalles.
You got it. That's a really nice word, you guys. Nuances. Hey, go into your teaching style. Tu estilo de enseñanza es como a nosotros nos encanta por eso, por lo que digo, que es una forma muy natural. Y de hecho, cuando estamos hablando, when we're talking on the phone or in voice messages, you constantly just digress and say, hey, Frank, by the way, this is this or that. It's something that comes natural to you. En tu estilo de enseñanza eso es muy natural y creemos que por eso conectas con tantísima gente. Es parte de tu éxito, ¿no? El hacerlo de una manera natural y realmente... sea en una clase o sea cuando estamos por ahí, te comportas igual. And that's something that's fresh.
Well, eso es muy New York. Keep it real. Primero,
real.
What you see is what you get. En la clase, si yo soy un loco, un chalado, pues eso es como voy a hacer en mi clase.
Yeah,
y si miras de dónde vengo, yo vengo de teatro, de interpretación. So, he aplicado esto, la comunicación, que es tan importante en el teatro, en películas, los ojos. el lenguaje corporal, y he aplicado esto. Y mi regla, my number one rule in my classes, y no digo solo en Instagram o en la radio ahora, pero en mis clases, cuando estaba en ING Direct dando clases, es, if I'm going to be here for an hour or 2 hours, I'm going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. No voy a, and again, es el enfoque, the approach. Yo puedo entrar como profesor de another fucking day of work. Here we go again. I'm tired. You know, it's raining outside, blah, 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 blah. We can complain about a million things. But if you come in there like, are you guys ready to play? Let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
And you want to, and you really are genuinely having fun. Enjoying.
Absolutely.
And if you're having fun, ¿quién no se quiere unir al buen rollo, al buen
rollo? It is contagious. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's my philosophy, Fran. In the classroom, on my radio show, on my podcast, my philosophy.
And also making the most of every class, because I can listen to your podcast and constantly, again, just coming up with expressions here and there. No matter if you've prepared it or not, when you come up with something, you bring it up. Like it's approach, enfoque. Oh, yes, you have to pay attention to those little nuances, matices. And so it's a constant learning. And I have to tell you, a lot of the times I just have you on the background and take it down.
Awesome. Great.
The other day, you said minced meat. Minced meat.
Sure. Yeah. You know who taught me that? ¿Sabes quién es un experto en esto?
Carne picada, right?
Carne picada, minced meat. Un experto es Richard Vaughan, que le has mencionado antes, hay que mencionarle otra vez. Me dijo, Alberto, te doy una clase de media hora sobre mi mano, sin salir de aquí. Empiezas los dedos, las uñas, nudillos, knuckles, rule of thumb, una regla en general. Don't point at me, two thumbs up. You know, peace. This one means something. You can literally spend a half an hour talking about your fingers if you make it interesting.
I know it like the back of my hands.
Expresiones, claro. Te conozco como la palma de la mano. I know you like the back of my hand. Sure. I can't put my finger on it. No sé exactamente qué puede ser. No lo averiguo del todo, you know?
That's another great example of somebody mastering both languages and making the most of it.
Yeah.
He's been such an inspiration for us. We got him a few months back here on the channel.
Oh, wow.
That was a great interview. And it was such a privilege. And amazing. But
he's the master, really. You know, we're all his minions. Sus, como la película, his minions. He's Groot.
We have to give credit to what it's due, you know. It's
como la expresión, exacto. Give credit where credit is due. Yeah.
Where credit is due, exactly. Yeah, and isn't he one of the most intelligent people that you've met too, Mr. Vaughan?
And he's a really good guy. He's a friend of mine. Somos amigos íntimos. He's a great friend of mine. And okay, sometimes he's hard on his students, but so am I. I'm a teacher. I'm not going to put up with crap. You know, if you keep saying people is, I'm going to start getting frustrated. Because I'm going to tell you as people are, and I'm going to say, you're making me repeat myself too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's really, I don't mind repeating myself. It's my job. But then if you don't fix that mistake, we can't move on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's reinforcing, as Richard Vaughan says, it's reinforcing a bad habit. You know, if you let it pass, it just
you have to correct every mistake. Oh, yeah, sure.
And it's going to be ingrained there. So amazing. Yeah. And something I wanted to ask you, ¿crees que usar ambos idiomas? Because there's a tendency, it's been a trend, it's been going on for many years, you know, native speakers not even knowing a second language like Spanish and just teaching in pure English. What do you think the benefits are of using both languages in the class?
Well, listen, there are limitations. There are pros and cons, pros y contras, to everything, pros and cons. So there are pros and cons to using it. If I'm dealing with Spanish students, I can take a 20-minute explanation and say it in a sentence.
Yes.
So instead of saying, es digo, you're preaching to the choir. No, it lo resume mucho mejor. The only thing about using Spanish is I might be leaving out, omitiendo German people, leaving out, German students. Everybody wants to learn English, and I have listeners as you do from all around the world. So I think, using Spanish can be very convenient. It can make things move along quicker, but then you're limiting your audience because people who don't speak Spanish.
Yeah. Like us, we're focusing on the Hispanic market, so to speak. So
which is a big market, and I always think of it this way, Fran. I say, who doesn't want to learn Spanish and English?
That was the next question I was going to ask you. Like,
okay.
¿Cómo crees? How would you think? How do you think the Hispanic would affect the mastering both languages would affect the Hispanic population? ¿Cómo crees que a la población hispana le afectaría el dominar, to master both languages the way you do? Don't you think that'd be the most powerful thing we could do now?
Every job I've had, every opportunity I've had is not because I'm handsome. I know I have killer good looks. No, I'm joking.
You look good, Alberto. Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking. And it's not because I'm the most talented guy in the world. I'm not Bruce Springsteen or Bryan Adams. I know who you like.
I love Bryan
Adams. I think the fact that I speak 2 languages, the fact that I like communicating, te enseño la palabra, os enseño, I'm a people person. Me gusta la gente. And so for me, I took it personal. Quiero comunicarme con mi familia en español. Si no, no podía comunicar. So I think now, if you speak English and Spanish, you're a force to be reckoned with. Esto es una buena expresión, a force to be reckoned with, una bestia de la naturaleza.
Amazing.
Because, okay, you could argue, okay, but Mandarin Chinese is spoken by more people. Okay. In a more concentrated area, Spanish and English are spoken all over the world.
But don't you think that nowadays Spanish and English are the most trendy, the most fashionable languages? Well, English, obviously, because of the American power, but also...
And the British Empire before that.
Yeah, and also that because now in the United States, there's more than 50 million people speaking Spanish, or Spanish speakers living in the U.S. So those 2 languages are dominating the world, so to speak. And so if we provide all the Spanish population with a mastery of English, that'd be, man, imagine 600 million people speaking both languages. That would be a community unbeatable. That'd be.
I love one of my favorite things is my mom has a few friends of hers that follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And they say, hey, Alberto, I love these videos. I'm learning Spanish from them. Women from New Jersey or, it's great. I didn't know that one. And really, they're saying, I work with Spanish people. So this is really handy for me. Muy útil.
Those 2 languages is like, that's our mission. We want to kind of joking with, we need to save the English language and the Hispanics, salvar el inglés en el mundo hispano. But again, we think it's that's what we try to get across to our students. It's like mastering those 2 languages is going to take you, because look at us. Carlos is a music teacher. I studied humanidades.
Humanities,
humanities. Is none of us, neither of us was related previously to English learning or teaching, and now.
And it's opened all the doors that you
It opens doors. And look at you. You speak 2 languages. Originally, you had a different profession or career, and now you're focusing on this. So we're proof. Yeah.
Well, now instead of being an actor and waiting for somebody else to write what I should say and waiting for somebody else to give me an opportunity, I'm a content creator. I create my own opportunities to write, to present, to edit, to put together, videos, audio. So for me, it's a learning experience, just like learning the language, learning in the digital world. It's changed, it's flipped learning on its head. Le ha dado la vuelta a la enseñanza, la revolución de Internet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell us about your social networks. You have a YouTube channel, you have your TikTok, you have your Instagram, and now you're really active now on your Instagram and TikTok. You're creating those shorts videos.
Hey, a friend of mine he said, I got to start doing it. And I listened.
You're doing such a great job and really, persevering and focusing a lot on, different similar words that sound slightly different, right?
Yeah, I think I would categorize my videos because I share a video a day. Plus, I have a 2-hour live show on Vaughan Radio, the show with no name, plus the podcast every week. So there's a lot of free content that you can get just by following me. And what was I getting at? ¿Qué te estaba diciendo?
Yeah, just give us a couple of examples of what you're doing on your reels and TikToks. Like,
oh, right. So the
fail.
categories, I would put them into
Yes.
false friends. O sea, errores comunes como el people is, con ejemplos.
Yes.
Pronunciation mistakes or common, like burn and barn. No, la
Exactly.
gente suele liar estas cosas.
Fail, and feel.
Yeah. Different pronunciation things and idiomatic expressions. These things that can sum something up beautifully. Resumen algo de una forma bonita, ¿no? And again, I think one of the coolest things about idiomatic expressions is you're in the club. Entonces, cuando yo digo, no me jodas, or something like that, la gente me mira como, ¿cómo sabías tú? You know? Cuando un guiri te dice, ¿pero qué me estás contando, tronco? Te quedas como, ¿what? ¿Cómo sabías tú? Que yo... So it almost gives you like a VIP. I'm in the club, guys. I know how you communicate.
Yeah. It makes you belong to the real speaking world, so to speak. Sure. That's amazing. So,
because
hey guys,
my tailor is rich, no nos ha valido para nada.
You guys need to follow Alberto Alonso. You have here Alberto Alonso. Okay, you look him up on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, and then if you connect that way, then you're gonna know when he's doing his live show.
Yeah. Really cool. You know what? You can go to my website is albertoalonso.com and you can find links to everything.
You got it.
The easiest thing.
Yeah, and also let's talk about you've written a couple of books with both of them with Damien. 4 books.
4 books. Yeah, I got 4 books. I've got English Everywhere.
Yes.
And that's 40 chapters. And I take you to the hairdresser. There are situations and places, supermarket, the bar, and you learn English in these situations. It comes with audio. It was my first book.
That was your first book, and you did it with Vaughan?
Yes, and this one was me, solo. I wrote this one solo. Then the second one became a bestseller. That's This Book is the Milk with Damián Moya, Barrancas.
Okay. Yes.
AKA, also known as, también conocido como, AKA Barrancas.
AKA, all right.
AKA, yes. Also known as. And then the second one was This Book is the Remilk, which has just been renamed This Book is the Milk 2, also with audio.
That's cool.
And then
you can find all of them. You can find them on Amazon, right?
Amazon or vaughantienda.com, la tienda de Vaughan, or Amazon, o como se dice la frase, wherever fine books are sold.
That's a good one.
En todas las grandes almacenes or something, right? Wherever fine books are sold. So, and my last book is called English on the Go. The last one, I've got another one in the works, pero no puedo. I can't let the cat out of the bag. No puedo.
I know. Damián said something because you guys were working on the title.
We're always working. We're always working. Our brains, at least.
Yeah, that's it.
But the other one, the fourth one, is about traveling. So I take you to 30 cities, and we discover English in these cities, and we discover fun facts. Curiosidades, fun facts. And as I said, they're all the way I learned, through sense of humor. This book is the milk, pop culture, through traveling, and through situations. So todo mis formas de aprendizaje salen en mis libros.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Como yo aprendí español, o sea que me ha funcionado. Te lo estoy dando a ti en inglés, masticado.
Again, it's what we said. It's just reflecting on the way you've learned is the way you using to teach. Basically, because
well, if it doesn't work, I gotta. But if it doesn't work, Fran, then I'm not going to use that. But if everybody says, "Tío, hablas muy bien," I'm like, well, I used to write down Rafael lyrics. Because there was no Google. No había Google.
Absolutely.
So that curiosity, I think that's the number one thing. As a student, be curious. Learn something every day.
That's
At
it.
least one little thing.
That's what's making you such a great teacher, and because you basically constantly learning. You remember how you learned that, and then now you're using it in your classrooms, in your classes, in your books.
And I'm constantly taking notes. I have my office is full of notes. Se me ocurrió una idea para un. So like you know, your brain is going a mile a minute, a mil por hora.
It is the same here. Look, I'll show you. I have an application that is called Keep.
I've heard of it. Me suena, yeah.
Basically, constantly when watching movies, reading, whatever. This is everything I've taken down. Apuntado.
Great.
from the last summer on. So about 3 months. Look at this.
Excellent.
And it's all expressions.
Well, you got a book there, man. That's how Damian and that's how our book started. Have you ever thought? Let me ask you. I know you're the interviewer, but have you guys thought about writing a book or putting together some kind of?
We've thought about that, and we've had offers back in the day by Planeta and really good big fish in the market, in the field. But we've been so focused on our online things that we've always put in, constantly postponing.
Or maybe make it as something that accompanies the online. You know what I mean? Like where it's linked with what you're doing online.
The thing is, we don't really know how that works, but we might ask.
And writing a book is not easy. I'm going to tell you now, just because. When you think you're done, you have so many more steps.
Basically, we didn't want to get distracted of our focus, but we're aware it gives you a lot of personal brands and a lot of exposure.
It's a commitment. Es un compromiso. A commitment.
Exactly. So maybe you can give us some tips.
Of course.
But again, just out of all these expressions, we could easily get something out like you guys do. It's just taking down stuff, and then eventually you make a book or whatever. Hey, Alberto,
I also. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I like also playing with words. Like I have a section on the radio called Double Trouble. Entonces, esto es muy milky, como decimos Damián y yo. Si tú ya sabes, ¿cómo se dice la palabra pato?
Pato,
la palabra Donald Duck, ¿no?
Yes.
Ahora, si te digo que también es agacharse, pues no tienes que aprender una palabra nueva. Ya sabes duck, entonces solo tienes que tener la imagen, la asociación de un pato haciendo así.
There's another one which is to duck out.
I'm going to duck out. Voy a escaparme rápido.
Escaparse, ¿no? Like, constantly. I'm constantly.
Viéndolo como un pato.
Me I told him to come, but he's constantly ducking out,
So, entonces, esto es, me gusta eso, jugar con nunca te quedas con, bueno, la palabra, por ejemplo, yo qué sé, flake. Flake es copo de nieve o de oro, pero flake es un mal quedas también. This guy's a flake. He's very flaky. O sea, entonces, por eso siempre digo a mis alumnos, no te quedes, porque muchas veces tienen muchos significados y usos. Entonces, seamos exploradores de inglés. English explorers.
Now that you said flake, it reminds me of fluke.
Oh, yeah, that's another double trouble, como les llamo.
And fluke in Spanish is a funny and a really native Spanish one, which is chiripa. Have you heard
chiripa. That was a fluke goal.
That was just a fluke.
Ese gol fue de chiripa. It was a fluke goal. Que también es un tipo de pescado, pero no me acuerdo cómo era.
I didn't know that. Pescados, I don't even know my Spanish.
Fluke is a ver, fluke. Pensaba que era un tipo de pescado. No, pues nada.
It's like a whole different animal, like they say, because like even in Spanish, it's like it's tricky. So,
yo siempre lo flipo porque vas al norte de España y dicen pez espada y en el otro dicen emperador. I'm like, a ver.
Claro, es todo un mundo.
Guys, what are we going to call this stuff? I don't care what we call it. Let's just call it something.
So Alberto, why don't you teach us a few expressions, your favorite, or the ones you've been learning lately? Whatever you think it might be useful.
Well, the first one I like to teach my students is a phrasal verb, which is a great way to answer the dreaded temido, the dreaded question.
The dreaded, that's a good one.
Dreaded. Do you speak English? ¿Y sabes lo que dices aquí? I get by.
I get by.
Apaño.
Me apaño, me arreglo. Yeah.
Porque ahí no prometes. Estás demostrando, ¿sabes alguna palabrilla buena? I get by. Pero ahí no estás diciendo, sí, soy el mejor, soy el crack del inglés. Tampoco estás diciendo que no hablas. Dices, me las apaño, hago lo que puedo.
But you saying a lot just by saying that.
Ahí está, solo con ese choice of words, elección. Y viene de una canción de los Beatles.
I get by with the help from my friends. I was going to tell you.
Ahí lo tienes. Y así te dices, te lo asocias. Another one, I like to teach a lot is where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh my God, yeah. Querer es poder, right?
Donde hay, sí, querer es poder, pero si lo literalizamos, ¿no? Donde hay una voluntad, donde hay voluntad, hay un camino, hay
Mhm.
una manera. Qué bonito que en inglés la palabra camino es igual que la palabra manera.
Yeah,
Hay un
exactly.
camino, hay una manera, es beautiful, es poetic.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
eso me refiero de jugar con las palabras, no solo mirar la palabra y decir, bueno, esto es esa palabra, 4 letras y... No.
And also, these kind of sayings or catchphrases, whatever you want to call them, you have to say them the right way. Like you said,
Oh, claro.
this will is because if you break it down, you'd be like, where there is a will, there's a way. But you guys say it like in just one shot, de una tirada, ¿no? In
Claro.
contract and everything, like you said, with this a will, there's a way, and
Well,
that's the way you have to say it, right?
and I don't say I watched it. I say I watched it. I watched it.
Yeah.
You know. Also, your tone is important too, porque si yo te digo, oh, interesting, Fran, tell me about it. Estoy diciendo, qué interesante, cuéntame más. Pero si te digo, tell me about it, es me lo
Tell
dices
me
o me lo
about it.
cuentas.
Yeah.
So, ahí
Yeah,
el tono te dice
yeah.
si estoy de coña o si
Yeah.
estoy diciendo, no, cuéntame más.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, it's hot today. You say, tell me about it. I mean, ya te digo, ¿no?
O sea, ese sarcasmo tiene que salir,
yeah.
esa ironía de, joder, hombre, ya lo sé yo.
Pues
O sea, no es las palabras, es la
Pero
entonación.
lo gracioso es que tú lo tienes en los dos idiomas, ¿no?
Bueno, pero yo soy actor, entonces siempre estoy poniendo, ¿dónde está la pausa aquí? ¿Dónde está? ¿No?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Bueno,
What's the next
mis
one?
mejores alumnos,
Yeah.
Roberto Leal, Damián, son gente de la tele, son
Yeah.
gente... Pilar Rubio tiene un acento que flipas en inglés.
Yeah.
Tiene le encanta la música, es presentado, tiene buen oído.
Are you still today? Are you still teaching her? Or?
No, they're in Paris now. They don't live in Madrid right now. As far as I know, yeah. So I imagine they're learning French.
To make this more complicated.
Bueno, otra expresión, pardon my French.
What's that? I didn't know that one. Say it again.
No, estás buenísimo.
I didn't know that one. I'll take that down.
Cuando somos vulgares, no queremos serlo, pero hay veces que no hay otra palabra. Entonces,
pardon my French. Yes.
Pardon my French. Entonces dices, this guy is a real motherfucker. Pardon my French. Con todo mi perdón. Entonces se dice antes o después de una palabrota. Entonces se dice, he's a real, pardon my French, asshole.
So, you can anticipate it or then afterwards.
Or afterwards, es como una forma de disculparse.
I'll take it down
Disculpa,
now.
Dios perdóname por decir esta palabrota.
Look, I just took it down.
Pardon my French, but he's a real asshole.
Pardon my French. Hey, and also I was going to ask you, Sergio Ramos, you've ever taught him too?
Absolutely. I worked with Sergio Ramos when he was here in Madrid, and another guy like Pablo Motos. These guys, I mean, one day, think about Sergio Ramos. He plays Champions League.
Yeah.
You know, so one day he's in Milan, the next week he's in Germany, the next week he's in Cádiz. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult for these people with such busy, hectic lives.
Yeah,
to concentrate on that. You know, especially Sergio and Pablo spend a couple hours a day, I imagine, on their bodies.
Yeah, you can tell.
Because he's an elite athlete, and Pablo because he knows what he's doing is a long distance race here.
Yeah,
you know, he knows he's got to be in good shape every day to do that live show.
Keep up with that pace. You need to be in good shape. Absolutely,
you got to be your brain mentally fit. So these guys they have other priorities, and I totally understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes total sense. Sense. Hey, Alberto, come on, show us your next expression, your next trick.
All right, my next trick. Let's see. I've got the good thing is I have a few. I like to always relate things to pop culture, to what's happening, to actualidad, que se dice current events.
Actualidad, current events.
Acontecimientos actuales, current events. Ayer España ganó. Spain won. Vamos a mirar un error muy común y vamos a mirar una expresión. Okay, el error, muchos dicen Spain won Costa Rica.
Yeah.
¿no? se puede decir Spain won against Costa Rica, pero
Yeah, exactly.
yo no quiero decir tanta palabra. Entonces,
Huh?
ahí diríamos Spain won si no ponemos el adversario.
But
Spain
if
won.
you yes. Pero ganar
Spain
a alguien,
beat, vencer.
defeat. Yeah,
Usaríamos vencer. So Spain beat Costa Rica. It was a landslide victory. Solo por el contexto que acabo de decir.
Ajá. Pues que era una victoria
Por
pues,
goleada.
apabullante.
Yeah, por goleada o han ganado no por un voto o por 2 goles, se puede by a landslide.
By a landslide.
So
Wow.
Spain won by a landslide.
Let me take this
Por
down.
goleada, que
Right.
era, it was a beating, también lo decimos, una paliza. Hablando de la palabra, bueno, te he dado la expresión. Hablando de la palabra beat it, ¿qué
Yes.
significa la canción de Michael Jackson? Beat it, no one wants to be defeated. ¿Qué dice ahí? Beat it.
Pírate ya.
Muy
Beat
bien.
it.
Muchos creen que es pégalo, porque beat es pegar
Claro,
o vencer.
Yeah.
Pero beat it.
I love the guitar riff on that song.
Oh,
That's unbeatable. That's unbeatable.
Unbeatable. That's yeah. Because Fran, you never want to miss a beat. No te quieres perder ni una. Nosotros decimos, no se pierde un compás. You never miss a beat.
Oh, you can be that. You can be
wow.
that.
¿Ves cómo estamos explorando la palabra beat? We're beating it up. Le estamos machacando.
And the funny thing with beat is the conjugation, because it's beaten.
Beaten, yeah. Los americanos nos comemos esa T, el beaten. Eso, si quieres poner Damián a prueba, dale los glottal T's, lo odia.
Yeah,
yo siempre le digo, Damián, dime, are you certain there's a fountain in the mountain?
The mountain.
O sea, 3 palabras. Are you certain there's a fountain in the mountain?
Yeah. Next time I'll talk to him, I'll test him on that.
Y
yeah.
mi hija, que tiene 3 años, dice mound. Ella oye, papi, look at the mound.
Mound. Yeah.
No oye, pero por ahí va. Ya solo le falta.
Ya lo tiene. She's got it.
Pero eso es inglés americano. Los británicos no usan ese glottal stop tanto de parar en medio de, ¿no?
It's a complicated thing, yeah. And for us to make it simple, just we pronounce it like that.
Para nosotros es difícil el doble R.
Yeah.
Los americanos no distinguen entre perro es mi perro, pero es mi perro.
Yeah,
o sea que cada idioma tiene sus errores de pronunciación, sus errores. Las errores más comunes en español, para el hispanohablante en inglés, son de traducir literalmente. I have 45. No. I have hungry. 45. No, I'm hungry. Yeah. O sea, cuando empezamos a traducir en la cabeza es cuando fallamos.
Somos 3. We are 3, which is, it'd be understandable, but there's 3 of us. There's a party
there are
of
3 of us, sure.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Depends of. No, it depends on.
It depends on you. It depends on me.
Pero a ver, si tú aprendes estos truquitos, pues mira, uno que podemos tachar de la lista. We can check another one off the list.
Absolutely. And what about it's funny with the written language, the double O, like you have book, which is almost an O, book. We can say book, but it's book. Then we have door, which is a pure O.
Oh, yeah, forget
blood.
it. Yeah.
Then we have blood, which is almost an A, blood.
Mira, come home. ¿No deberían sonar igual come and home?
Yeah, I know.
Pues no.
Yeah, you know, English, the written in English, it's just made purposely for the Hispanic speakers not to learn. That's my.
And also, I'll say the same thing. Touché. I'll say the same thing about Spanish grammar. Yo, para usar el verbo conducir en español, tengo que aprender 75 palabras.
Condujiste.
Condujéramos.
Hubiese conducido, habría conducido.
Condujera, whatever. In English, drive, drove, driven.
And people complain about it, you know, drive, drove, it's just 3, you know.
Bueno, 4 si contas drives, tercera persona.
Pues en inglés, Damián.
O sea, lo hemos dicho antes, pros and cons, que no puedes, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Toma, otra expresión. No puedes tener la tarta y comerlo también. O lo tienes o lo comes. You can't have your
cake and eat it too. But the funny thing is how you pronounce it, you know, like that's those nuances that's going to make you
Well, that's where you and your brother, I mean, have really, kudos to you guys. Enhorabuena for focusing on that, because that's a really, really important thing. I always tell my students every day on the radio show, I said, focus on how we put our shit together.
Yeah,
Porque nadie dice high school. They say high school.
High school. Yeah. Oh, just what you said before. You can have your cake and eat it.
And eat it too. Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
And eat it too. If you say you can't have your cake, and it's even more difficult to say.
Right.
And
yo siempre digo hay que plancharlo, no quitar las arrugas del idioma.
And if you train your brain with the way you guys speak English, it's going to be way easier to understand, because you train your brain with the same English. If you train your brain,
son ráfagas, Fran. Tú enseñas en tus vídeos ráfagas. Have you ever been to? Yes. Have you ever been to? Have you ever been to? Have you ever been to? Hasta que te sabes la canción. ¿Has estado en español? Cambia la canción. ¿Has estado alguna vez? ¿Has estado alguna vez?
Pero también lo ponemos todo junto.
Entonces, son canciones. Claro, un nativo no tiene que parar para pensar.
Claro, pero claro.
De hecho, no sabes ni si le preguntas, ¿he estado hablando en pluscuamperfecto? Te diría, ¿que estás loco?
Sí, exacto.
What?
Pero al final es facilitarle las cosas a tu cerebro, porque estás enseñándole lo mismo que va a escuchar. Pero si tú a tu cerebro le enseñas, I don't know how to say that. And then you get to the real thing and say, I don't know how to say that. So I don't know how to say that with I don't know how to say that. It's such a radical difference.
Y es cuestión de también qué palabras son importantes y cuáles son fillers. Exactly. El the, a no ser que estén, this is the Fran Monarch.
Yeah.
Entonces, ahí el the es importante, pero si no, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Fran Monarch. What's the important thing there? Not the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with da igual.
It makes sense. Hey, Alberto, I have here a few expressions that I've learned lately. Okay.
Okay, great. Shoot.
Let me tell you in Spanish and see if you can come up with it. All right.
Okay.
Something I've found out lately is the subtitles on series, movies, and stuff are really accurate, and to the point that they make me learn exactly the nuance. Okay, so look at this.
And there are a lot of trolls. ¿Sabes por qué son tan precisos, accurate? Porque hay muchos trolls ahí diciendo, muy mal hecho. The grammar police, la policía de gramática, ¿no?
In real time. Look at this one. Mirándolo con perspectiva. How would you say that in English? Mirándolo con perspectiva. You know, like
in retrospect, you could say.
Yeah, the one I have is looking back on it.
Looking back on it también, sure.
You know,
in retrospect, looking back on it.
Back in the day, por aquel entonces, it was really difficult, but looking back on it, it just seems like a different story.
Reflexionando, mirándolo de nuevo, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, and look at this one, and this one is almost literal, ¿vale?
Okay.
Me he tomado la libertad de, y esta la apunté el otro día, digo, qué buena, me he tomado la libertad de.
I've taken the liberty of introducing, or to introduce you to to take the liberty.
A lot of expressions are really just literal, to the point, like throwing, he threw in the towel, for example, the tip of the iceberg.
Tirar la toalla. Yeah. A caballo regalado, never look a gift horse in the mouth.
In the mouth. That's a good one, yeah. A lot of
never look a gift horse in the mouth. O sea, yo siempre pongo las expresiones en tres categorías.
Mm-hmm.
A, los que son iguales.
Yes.
O sea, esa. Yeah. Then you have los que son parecidos. La idea es igual, pero cambia un poco. Time is money. Time is gold, you say in Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
Igual, la idea es parecida. Y luego las que dices, ¿qué? That's the last straw. Eso es la gota que colmó. O sea, ideas totalmente diferentes.
Yeah. That's it. I have another one. I just took it down a couple of days ago, and it's en las categorías similares. No vengas con las manos vacías. Si vas a casa de mis padres, no vengas con las manos vacías.
Pues puedes decir don't come, pero si queremos ser más nativos, don't show up or turn up empty-handed.
You got it. All right. Don't show up. That's the way I got it. Don't show up empty-handed.
Yeah. Show up. Don't come, pero es más nativo show up.
You show up. Don't. You're more than welcome to come, but please don't show up empty-handed. Okay. Just
and please wipe your feet on the mat. Limpia los pies en el felpudo.
Esta es un poquito más idiomática de las que decías tú.
Okay.
Claro, si te digo una de ellas, seguro que me la dices, pero te la voy a decir un poco distinto. No va a
No,
ser.
me lo estás poniendo difícil. Okay, all right.
Yes.
I
No,
like a
no,
challenge. I like a challenge.
no va a servir. Este documento creo que no va a servir. Te puedo decir otra, pero seguro que la averiguarías. Creo que no va a servir.
I don't think this document will do.
That's okay. That's
No,
a
it
good
won't
one.
suffice. It won't be. It won't.
I was not looking for that one, but that's another one too.
Si yo te digo, oh, this will do. Esto me vale. That
That'll
won't
do.
do. Eso no me vale.
O tienes 5 euros, solo tengo 4. Oh, that'll do.
Claro,
That'll
eso
do.
me vale.
Pero es parecida a esa. Bueno, no va a estar a la altura. A lo mejor así sí que la averiguas. No va a estar a la altura.
No va a
Y te voy a
estar.
decir, it's not gonna
Up to
deliver.
par. Hasta a la
Up to
par.
par is not one.
Es parecido a la par. Up to par.
Pero es que, claro, no sé cómo decírtelo porque si no, mira.
He's not going to cut the mustard.
Yeah, that's it. That's not gonna
Hombre,
cut
esto
it.
es un buen game show. Tenemos que llevar esto a Antena 3. No
I'm
va a
up for it.
cortar la
I'm up for it.
mostaza. ¿Qué?
Pull some strings, Alberto. That's a good one. Pull some
So
strings.
pull some strings. Sure.
Mueves unos hilos. That's not gonna cut it. Recuerdo cuando aprendí esta, era una película que era esta de Tom Hanks, que era la del periódico, de Newspapers, era sobre un periódico, hace un par de años o así.
Oh, okay.
Y bueno, preparaban un artículo y decían, I think it's not gonna cut it. Okay, we
It's not
can
gonna
do it,
cut it,
guys.
man.
I'm telling you, insisto, that's not gonna cut it. No
Yeah,
va, no va a estar a la altura, y lo traducían como no va a servir, no va a funcionar.
Claro,
no va a
claro.
funcionar. It's not gonna cut it.
Yeah. I learned, ¿quieres flipar? Yo aprendí muchísimo vocabulario en español del marca.
Del diario Marca.
Vitrinas.
Sí.
La palabra as. Yo no sabía que as era ace.
¿Veis? Unas.
O sea que hasta el
sí.
título me enseñó. Marcar, to score.
Yeah.
O sea, aprendí muchísimo. Palmarés.
Un palmarés. How would you say
Una
palmarés?
remontada.
How would you say palmarés in English?
Palmarés or accolades. They have a lot of accolades, a lot of trophies, accolades.
Let me check that
A lot of
down.
recognition, no accolades.
Yeah.
Accolades, doble C.
Palmarés. Sí, I'm taking.
Pero
We're
son
setting an
palabras que yo
example.
aprendí leyendo el marca, ¿sabes? Antes del partido y escuchando el estudio estadio, ¿cómo se llama? You know?
We're trying to set an example. Estamos intentando dar ejemplo aquí de que somos estudiantes. We're constant, permanent students.
I think to be a good teacher, lo digo otra vez, I'll say it again, you have to put yourself in the student's shoes. And what better way than being a student yourself?
Absolutely.
No?
And they feel much more motivated to learn when they see we're at the same pretty much level, you know.
We're on the same wavelength. La misma onda.
I said, no, I'm not going to risk it. We're in the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're on the same page too. But anyways,
también buenísima.
They feel much more committed to start learning when they see you are at the same wavelength.
And you can relate to them, and you can say, I know what you're thinking. This sucks, but once you learn it doesn't suck.
Los alumnos están cansados de ir a ver a un profe y que el profe sea el crack. El que se tiene que sentir un crack es el alumno.
Of course. The student is definitely the protagonist, but I let them know the pressure's on, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot always be.
I'm listening to como tú me des un I think y no me lo terminas con I think. Te voy a exigir es acá. I'm sorry. O con mis alumnos a veces me dicen ein. Digo ein o I'm.
Hey, we've found that's a really permanent, constant mistake. Like ein.
Do you know how I do it with my students? I'm sure you do something similar. I ask them, I say, what's your favorite food? And they say, pizza. I say, okay, so next time you make that mistake, I'm going to say pizza. And you say,
The one I say is, I would say, how do you meditate?
Igual. No, te gusta algo y like, te tiene que vibrar. Your lips should tickle. Te deberían hacer cosquillitas.
You can tell that you've been teaching so many hours.
Well, dude, I've what is one thing that 18 years experience gives you? You know where the students stumble. I can help you. And sometimes I'm even cruel. Don't be cruel. Because I push my students into their mistakes. Porque digo, voy a ver si caen en esta zona
Exactly. Because by making mistakes and correcting them, you learn. But if you make
Mistakes are
mistakes,
blessings. Son bendiciones. Yeah.
exactly, it's just trial and error, por prueba y error.
Mhm.
That's the best way of learning. But
The only
if you
time a mistake is bad is when you don't learn from it.
no, absolutely. You need
When you
to.
learn from it, it's a blessing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the way to learn. If you don't push it, you're never gonna. And if you don't correct them, because if
Oh,
you
yeah. I don't fuck.
conversely,
My students know. And in fact, sometimes they're like, no, I said it. I'm like, I don't care. You're going to say it again until it sounds like music.
and, and eventually, al final, o tarde o temprano, eventually, students are gonna be able to correct themselves on the spot. En el
Absolutely.
momento, like a dog, cuando le echas el hueso a un perro, you throw them a bone, and they go quickly. They don't like it. They just on the spot. They just throw it away, throw it out. And,
But I also commend them. I commend them when I'm like, oye, he oído que has dicho I'm.
yeah.
So, lo mismo que estoy ahí listo con el bate, like, go ahead, say I'm y te mato.
Yeah.
Pero lo mismo cuando lo dicen bien, I'm like, oh.
Y ese es el tema, que tú cuando corriges 2, 3 veces una misma cosa, ellos se acaban autocorrigiendo. Pero si nunca lo corriges, you never correct that, then
yo siempre digo, el método es este, es muy fácil. Si la clase va como tiene que ir. Es you say something. I correct you. I tweak it. Le doy un ajuste. I tweak it.
Yeah.
And then I correct you again sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe a third time, maybe a fourth, depending on the student. Then the fourth time, you correct yourself. A second before you say it, you're like, oh, no, espera. Then the fifth time, maybe you say it without doubting, without second guessing. And the sixth and seventh time, it's yours. Es tu palabra.
Yeah. It's an automatic thing. Yeah. It's the same happens with kids, with your little girl. You correct her.
Oh, my God. Sure.
Eventually they got it.
She's like, yo sabo. I'm like, tiene sentido. Lo que no tiene sentido ahí es español, no mi hija.
No, because they're always, because the losers, they always say, but they're gonna they're gonna get to understand me no matter what. Yes, of course. Because if you hear somebody speaking like broken Spanish, yo mi coche romper, you're gonna get to understand them no matter what.
Sure,
but you want to understand them because they're speaking a different language. So
if you want to get beyond yo tener coche, qué tiempo hace, pues hay que currártelo un poquitín.
Yeah, and it sounds funny and exotic for a while, but then after that, it's just, that's
also, listen, my father is a guy who's lived in the United States his whole life. He speaks like this.
Yeah.
He's from Almería. This is his accent in English.
Yeah,
he has never had a problem. Bueno, he's had many problems communicating, but he always clears it up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
my dad's the evidence that you can get by para usar la palabra antes. But don't you want people the first time to look at you and say, got it. It's your confidence, everybody feels good when communication is clear.
Yeah, you sound good. Understand. One of our mottos, because we have a lot of them. One of them is sound good, understand better. So the better you sound, the better you're gonna get to understand. So it's a double impact. First, you're gonna come across as a better speaker, and second, your understanding is going to be you really boost it. Definitely.
Yeah, sure. And the more you hear something, the more, like my wife now, just from living with me for so many years, a lot of times I do these quizzes in Twitter. Hago estos quiz A, B, C, and a lot of times I'll say to my wife, "Which one's right?" And she goes, "B, obviously." And I'm like, "How did you know that?" She goes, "I don't know. It just sounds right."
Yeah.
And I said, she's probably never used that expression, but she's heard me say it, and she goes, "That's that." So even subconsciously, I always tell people, pon el podcast, el For Your Inglés, or the show with no name, ponlo de fondo. You got to, what are you doing? You're cooking? I listen to podcasts when I cook. I learn about the economy. I learn about geopolitics. I learn about aviation, all while I'm preparing dinner.
Yeah, because the moment you come up with something or come across something something interesting, alarms are going to go off, and chances are you're gonna.
And you open up. It's like Alice and the rabbit hole. The moment you find something interesting, you want to go deeper. And you want to go deeper, and you want to go deeper into it.
Absolutely. Hey, Alberto, let me test you a couple more here.
Okay, all right.
You'll know this one for sure, but the expression I'm gonna give you in Spanish is a little bit tricky. Like I said, a lot of the subtitles really accurate that I've been seeing lately. ¿Me estás tomando el pelo? Pregunta, ¿me estás tomando el pelo? Obviously,
Are
you're
you
gonna
pulling
say,
my chain?
what's that again?
Are you pulling my chain?
That's not the one I was looking for, but that's a really good one.
Are you pulling my leg? Same thing. Are you
Vale,
pulling my chain?
maybe a lo mejor a esta te estás metiendo conmigo.
¿Me estás vacilando? Are you pulling my chain? You know? Are you
It's
pulling my leg?
the one I got is, are you messing with me?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Are you messing?
Messing is a nice way of saying fucking. Are you fucking with me? ¿Me estás
Exactly.
vacilando? Are you
Puede ser
messing with me?
You could say, me estás tomando el pelo, también te estás metiendo conmigo. Like, you could
Yeah.
tell,
Vacilar, meterse con... Yep.
no te metas con mi hermana. Don't mess with my sister. Don't mess
Y la,
with the
y la
IRS.
expresión de Texas es don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas. Or don't mess with the IRS in the US.
Oh, nunca. Con Hacienda, nunca.
y esta es muy buena. It was way over my head. Pero yo
esto es buenísimo, tío.
Pero fíjate, atención, la traducción del subtítulo me parece muy buena. Me venía grande.
Oh, that's good. Sí, porque no lo capté. Ok,
Exacto,
no lo pillé. So, y hasta esta lo usamos con un gesto. So, tú me cuentas un chiste o me cuentas algo muy difícil que no entiendo. I'm like, dude,
I was way over.
It went over my head. Se me pasó por encima de la cabeza. It went over my head.
Ahora que has dicho no lo capté, otra muy buena para no lo capté, aunque es más para acentos. Por ejemplo, si eres de Almería pero no captan el acento. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't catch that. I didn't pick up on that. Sure.
Good. Y esta es muy buena. No le pega, no es propio de él. No te pega decir, it's not like you to say sorry.
Ahí lo tienes. It's not like you to say sorry.
What a great song. I love
that. A lot of the greatest expressions are in music, ¿no? No me apetece hacer nada. Today I don't feel like doing anything.
I just wanna lay in my bed, which is...
Ahí tienes lie, o sea, que tienes de todo. Y Bruno Mars. Ok, tengo una para ti, Fran. I got one for you, que muy nativa, que lo decís mucho en español y hay muchas formas de hacerlo en inglés. Okay. Y alguien te cuenta algo y tú dices, no jodas, no me jodas. Like, pero no es no me jodas, me estás molestando, sino como, calla, no me jodas.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Ya, el tono muy importante. En esta frase es shock.
No, sería, no kidding, no kidding.
Are you kidding me? Me encanta esta. Are you shitting me? No shit.
No shit.
No jodas, no shit.
No shit, Sherlock.
No shit, Sherlock, eso es obvio, tío. Pero si tú dices, no shit.
No shit.
Pero si dices, no shit, Sherlock, es como, dime algo que no sepa. Todo el mundo sabe eso.
Tell me something.
Pero también se puede decir, no me jodas, like, get out of here.
Get out of here. Oh, yeah. O también,
get out of here. Salte de aquí. Eso es como, no me
lo acompañan con, give me a break.
Give me a break, yeah. Get out of here. También está, shut the fuck up. Calla. So, shut up y como, no, calla. No. Decís eso también, calla, no me jodas. O sea, pero ¿qué es importante ahí? El tono.
Incluso, no way, ¿no? No way.
No way. Exacto. Pues mira, acabamos de descubrir 8 formas de no jodas.
Me acuerdo de cuando la aprendí porque estaba en Estados Unidos, back in 2001, I was going to go to an Aerosmith show.
Oh,
and
cool.
And then I bumped into my neighbor and he goes, me salta y me suelta, and he goes, hey, Fran, where you going? I said, I'm going to an Aerosmith show. And he goes, no way. And I thought, no way. Será como, no fastidies.
Como no vas a ir.
No way.
Ni de coña vas a ir. Claro.
It's funny how many different ways of,
it reminds me of a false friend of these, my friend Roberto Leal, my loyal friend. Operación Triunfo, great guy. And he was running a marathon. And there was a guy who was passing out, se estaba desmayando, just from exhaustion. And Roberto goes up to him and he goes, my friend, be quiet. Y entonces, claro, el tío, like, ¿qué? Él le quería decir, stay still, stay here, estate quieto.
Stay put,
y le estaba diciendo, cállate. Y claro, dice el tío ahí como medio muerto y el tío como, be quiet, estate quieto, cállate. Y el otro como, ¿qué me está? Al final se dio cuenta que le quería ayudar, pero vaya false friend ahí, ¿eh?
Has dicho Alberto, he went up to him, right?
He went up to him, se le acercó, yeah.
Estos verbos, y esto lo aprendí del profesor Vaughan, ¿vale? Del Mr. Vaughan. Los adverbios que usas con up son acercarse, ¿no? He went up to him, se acercó. Se me acercó a mí, he came up to me.
She ran up to me.
Ran up to me, he drove up to me. Con los verbos de movimiento.
Acercarse, yeah.
Qué fácil encontrar un sentido. So he went up to him and said, quiet, be quiet, ¿no?
Yeah, we love it. So I went up to him, porque se puede decir I approached him, pero es mucho más normal. I went up to him, he came up to me.
Come up here, or, you know, me puedes acercar a casa en coche, can you drive me up home? Or, you know, yes, it's funny.
Can I hitch a ride? Me encanta esa.
Hitch a ride, yeah.
Que es una canción de Boston.
De Boston. Gonna hitch a ride. Boston, we're a great band.
I know you love your guitar.
More than a feeling, more than
classic.
A feeling. What a great band.
So, you know, and you know what? I always tell my students, here's another tip. If you love music, put on videos on, just go to YouTube. First, follow us if you're not following all of us. And then go over to Aerosmith, Sweet Emotion lyrics. Grab a pen and say, sweet emotion. You talk about things that nobody cares. You can turn your house into an English class / karaoke.
Karaoke, yeah. Hey, Alberto, look at this. We've been talking for about, I don't know, what, an hour and a half? Or
yeah, about an hour 15. No, good stuff, man. I enjoy chatting with you.
Thank you so much. It's been so productive, not only for me, but for the audience for sure. Hey, let's take a look at the chat, because we've been neglecting it for a while.
Oh, sure.
Muchas gracias. Bendiciones desde Guatemala. Wow,
Guatemala in the house, presente. Guatemala in the house.
África Marín dice, pedazo de conversación entre ustedes, sois unos cracks, increíbles. Okay. Fake it until you make it, that's the key. And imagine being an actor. Sí, comenta alguien aquí, Mauricio, sobre la expresión fake it until you make it. Qué buena expresión es, también muy americana.
Well, also, another way to say that is poise, desenvoltura. Being able to be comfortable in any situation, even when you have no idea what's happening.
Yeah,
poise.
That's a great tip. Excelente entrevista, pero me quedé sin saber qué dice la canción de Michael Jackson. Pues
beat it, lárgate. Sí.
Lárgate, ¿vale? Beat it.
Es igual que Hit the Road, Jack. Lárgate también. ¿Qué tienen en común esas dos canciones? Significan lárgate, ambas.
En Hit the Road. Hit the Road también significa marcharse.
Lárgate, Jack. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
And head también significa llegar. When you head, I'm gonna head Madrid about 5 seconds.
I'm gonna head home, and then later we're gonna head into Madrid.
Exactly. En eso, lo de Michael Jackson, lo importante es beat it, que sobre todo significa marcharse, ¿vale? Luego dice, no one wants to be defeated. Nadie quiere ser vencido, ¿no?
So beat it.
What a great song.
But you wanna be fair, pero quiere ser justo.
Beat it. Y tienes que escuchar, ya te la pasaré, porque hay en YouTube creo que hay un trozo donde sale la maqueta que grabó Michael Jackson en su estudio antes de la grabación del...
Oh, cool.
Y sale haciendo las voces prácticamente a capela. Que en la canción no se ve.
So it's like raw vocals, crudo and bruto, right?
Amazing. And he does the whole thing, and it is magic, you know?
Awesome.
Amazing. Pero toda esa parte del estribillo con voces, es fantastic.
Qué chulo.
Dice,
YouTube is a wealth. Hay una abundancia. There's a wealth of things on YouTube. Yeah.
If you know how to screen it and how to choose the right stuff,
you subscribe to the right channels first. YouTalk TV, obviously.
Follow them. That's a great source. Mira, dice aquí Mauricio, se nota que a este tipo le gusta lo que hace. Su forma de capturar. Estoy traduciendo porque está perfecto en inglés escrito. It shows that this guy loves what he does. His way of capturing people's attention is amazing. En tu inglés, Mauricio, 2 thumbs up.
Amazing. You the bomb.
Yes. ¿Cómo aprendí otro día a decir I tip my
hat to you or hats off to you?
Exacto, hats off to you. So, esto dice que se nota, ¿no? It shows. Qué buenos por aquí, Ana González. Aquí pone alguien high school escrito muy gracioso con J, high school.
Y luego, claro, es como Bruce Springsteen. Bruce acaba con ese, el sonido, y Springsteen acaba con ese, lo unimos. Bruce Springsteen.
Se une. La forma de eliminar esa E delante es unir las palabras, ¿no?
Lo planchamos.
Para serpientes, stop snake, junta, 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 stop snake, speak Spanish. Dice otro Fran, tocayo, buenísima sesión, los dos habláis inglés y español perfecto, jaja, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bueno, muchas gracias chicos por estos comentarios. También, if you're watching this on replay, so to speak, just feel free to leave comments here. We're gonna read it eventually, not eventually, but we're gonna read it on and off, and then we'll get back to you guys if you have any questions about the interview. Si tenéis cualquier duda sobre la entrevista, que estáis viendo esto en diferido, en el año 2000,
you can write to me, or you can write to Fran.
Podéis escribir a Alberto Alonso en Instagram, que responde todo, o escribir a mí o abajo.
Intento, aunque tarde un poco, slowly but surely, lentamente, pero ahí voy.
Y debajo del vídeo en comentarios, dejarlo y cualquier duda que tengáis. Fran, Alberto, en el minuto 35, esto que habéis dicho de beat it, o sea, explica, no hay problema, estamos aquí para ayudar.
Mi último consejo es enjoy the process. Como dijimos, que es una letra de Aerosmith, qué casualidad, what a coincidence.
Oh my God.
Life's a journey, not a destination. Learning English is a journey, not a destination. And I just can't tell just what tomorrow brings. It's amazing.
I got it.
Blink of it. It's amazing, creo, ¿no?
Amazing. With the blink of an eye.
You finally see the light.
You know
life's a journey, not a destination. Ahí lo dice todo Steven Tyler, ¿no? Disfruta el camino.
¿Sabes cuántas veces he visto a Aerosmith? 3 veces en mi vida.
I'm jealous. I've only seen him once. Oye, te tienes que venir a Madrid para Ozzy Osbourne, Judas Priest.
When is that?
Creo que en mayo. Yo ya tengo entradas. I've got tickets.
Okay. Yeah, you can count on it.
It's going to be cool, man. Judas Priest and Ozzy? Really? Rock and roll, man.
I'm up for it. Definitely. And one day we can do just a show speaking about music. And we're both great fans of Green Day. I'm a big fan of them. Recently, and so just out of one or two of these bands, we can be speaking for a couple of hours. Easily.
Bueno, la letra When I Come Around tiene dos diferentes. When I Come Around, cuando vuelvo por ahí, y When I Come Around, cuando cambie de opinión. O sea, es brilliant esa letra.
When I come around. Wow, what a great song.
Quiere decir cuando cambie de opinión y cuando vuelva por ahí. Es buenísima la expresión, el doble sentido ahí.
What a great band. What a great band. Amazing.
Excellent.
So, hey, Alberto, thank you so much. Podríamos estar aquí hablando todo
Of course,
el día.
but it's lunchtime. Hay que comer.
Y nada, simplemente os pido que sigáis a Alberto Alonso en Instagram, en TikTok, en su YouTube. Hacerle cualquier consulta, él os va a responder seguro.
Tienes el programa de radio diario gratis, 2 horas al día.
Genial.
Y luego tienes cada viernes un podcast. O sea, todo esto es gratis y at your fingertips, a tu alcance.
At your fingertips. Y luego, chicos, si estáis, veréis que ahí en el chat os hemos dejado la oferta de Black Week. Que acabamos
great deal.
Os aconsejo que lo probéis. Tenéis 14 días de garantía y es una oferta. Estamos haciendo un 60% en el precio y un 50% más de duración. En lugar de 8 meses, la gente puede acceder 12 meses y además hemos añadido un sistema como igual que Netflix o Spotify que pueden añadir a un par de miembros de su familia con su email. O sea, que compran un curso, pero pueden...
That's a deal, that's a bargain, that's a steal. Son 3 formas de decir un chollazo.
Yeah, amazing, absolutely. So, chicos, apuntaros ahí. Cualquier duda me dejáis comentario. Tenéis hasta mañana, creo que es la oferta. Así que aprovechad, ¿vale? All right, Alberto, hey. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much to you and to all your students as well. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.